Andy Card served as White House Chief of Staff to President George W. Bush across 2 terms from 2001 to 2006. Andy, good morning. Great to have you with us in the studio.
Great to be with you, Willie. Thank you.
This is a fascinating marriage between 2 different personalities. You've got the President of the United States, who operates on chaos and impulse, and a retired 4-star Marine general who's lived inside a chain of command for his entire professional life. How's it going to work?
Well, there'll be strains. I hope that General Kelly, and I think he is a terrific leader, I hope that he will demonstrate to the president the value of discipline, self-discipline and discipline in the organization. General Kelly understands the ways of Washington, too. He actually worked very closely with 2 secretaries of defense in Washington, helped get the president's agenda done then. One was Bob Gates, the other one was Leon Panetta. He also worked with people on Capitol Hill for a long time, so he knows the ways of Washington, he knows how to lead people, and he understands that infighting in the organization doesn't help you win the war. You want to demonstrate to other people that the White House actually gets along well and doesn't pull out the knives and stab each other in the back, because you don't want Congress to do that. Congress can do that on their own. The president shouldn't invite Congress to manage the way he manages the White House.
Is it too much to ask, though, Andy, even of a 4-star general of the caliber of John Kelly, to exercise self-discipline, to ask the president to exercise self-discipline, a guy who believes that social media is his best weapon and his greatest asset, that he can go out, wake up one morning and start going after his attorney general, a guy who lives for this stuff? Why will General Kelly be different than everybody else who's ever been at the side of Donald Trump?
Well, I think General Kelly, first of all, you're never going to eliminate the president from doing what he's innately likely to do, which is tweet. You hope that there will be more discipline around the tweets and give more thought, taste your words before you spit them out. Generals are very good at that. They know that there are ramifications to almost any tactical act. And you want to make sure that you understand the ramifications before you perform the act. And maybe the general will help the president find some discipline and understand the consequence of what happens when he does something that is not well thought out or considered.
What is the most important part of General Kelly's job as he walks into that office tomorrow morning? What's the first thing he needs to do as he's watched from afar? Infighting, power struggles going on. He had the communications director publicly in an interview attacking Reince Priebus dismissed shortly thereafter. What does John Kelly have to do the minute he walks in tomorrow?
I hope that he's already sat with the president and talked about expectations. What are your expectations, Mr. President? And you should be asking me what my expectations are. This is how I intend to function as Chief of Staff. Can it fit the way you need to have your job met? I want to help you do the job. I want to help you accomplish your goals. So I think it's first coming to an understanding that the Chief of Staff should be all-knowing. He doesn't have to be all-controlling. He just has to be knowledgeable. So my advice is no one should see the president unless they need to. They shouldn't see them if they just want to. The discipline of needs versus wants is critical at the White House.
It's so great to have your perspective on this story, having been inside that Oval Office for so long. And Andy confirms to me this is the first time he's ever shared a bill with Puff Daddy on a show. Congratulations.
Thank you, Willie.
Thanks, Andy. Good to see you.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.